Hi friends, it's Carrie from Conversations at Carrie's Corner, and today we are working on this week's first podcast. So welcome, thanks for joining me today. It is Tuesday and we are 1 week out from our national election. Praise the Lord, right? Whoever you want to win, let's just all pray that at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock that night, we know who our next president will be, so our country can finally end this political nightmare that we've been living for 10 months. It's just been the worst I can remember in my limited adult years. So thanks for joining us today at Conversations at Carrie's Corner. What is this podcast all about? Well, it's about just about anything you want it to be. I started this podcast because I felt the need to try to encourage conversation in our society, in our communities, in our neighborhoods, our friends, our families. Our nation is divided like we've never been divided before, and when I was growing up, I never remember any of this because it wasn't there. We could talk to each other. We could civilly sit down, have a conversation, disagree with one another without attempting to murder one another or end friendships or acquaintances or family members being disowned. It's just, we have lost one of the most important things for any society to live and survive, and that's communication. Communicating with each other, interacting with each other positively, constructively, respectfully. And I just felt the calling to start a podcast and be part of a movement to get us all back to the middle where we can respect each other's positions and say, yeah, you know what? I understand. I don't agree with you, but I understand and I respect the fact that your position is this. Now, in return, this is my position and I expect you to respect my position. How hard is that? I mean, really, how hard is it? And it comes back to one thing that I'm finding as I do more and more of these and I get more and more feedback. The root of all evil, as in any society, is money. And money drives power, and power drives violence and decisiveness. So we've got to figure out in the continental United States, I don't see our other territories having this problem, but we've just got to figure out how to talk to each other. Part of the problem is we are on social media and we're not face to face. So we've got to get back to this face to face conversation, going places and seeing people and sitting down. And one of my inspirations for my podcasts are the 50s diners. I can remember being a little girl, and I wasn't a little girl in the 50s, but going to these retro diners with my parents and watching my parents, and they would go in and they'd sit down and they'd have a coffee or a Coke or whatever, and they would know the people next to them and they'd start up a conversation, and then they'd come away with a new friend, a new thought, potentially even a new position on something because they communicated with the person next to them. And that's what we've lost. We've lost that. We've lost inner human connection and conversations with each other. Communication, so you tend to send a text message. Who wants a text message? I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you on the phone, or I want to talk to you on a video chat. I want to connect with you. I don't want to text. Anybody can send a text. How impersonal. And that's part of the problem. So this subject today is it's a subject that has really hit me hard personally. I know many, many people that are in the same position, and I believe it's a big result of why our country is in the state that we are in. It is creating this cancer of hostility. And everyone is struggling, it seems, financially, emotionally, physically, psychologically. Families are struggling, relationships are struggling, businesses are struggling. It's just a struggle. Life is a struggle. Now, if you're independently wealthy and you don't have to worry about all of these things, you still have struggles though. Nobody is immune from it. And that's dealing with trauma, things that are happening in our life, coping. COVID for me started a mountain that exploded this September. In 2006, I had a very, very traumatic injury, and it's decimated my finances. I still deal with it today. My life is different today from that injury. And I never dealt with the trauma of that injury because I've been too busy dealing with the physical part of the accident, the financial part of it, my relationships that have been affected by it, me physically, how it's affected me. That was the first thing, and that was in 2006. Then we moved. Moving is always a traumatic thing. Interstate, we moved from Arizona back to Texas. We had a lot of family strife in that time, within my family unit and within my extended family unit. It's never been dealt with. Then I opened a business. I became an entrepreneur. That's taking a lot of time and a lot of effort. Everything else is pushed away by the wayside. COVID came along and completely changed my world, personally and professionally. I had 2 offices that were open to the public. Those are now gone. I have one office. It's a remote office. And so I've become isolated. It's a good thing, but it's a very bad thing. COVID happened in 2020. And since then, professionally, I have been surviving. I have not been growing. I've been surviving because it's been me and me alone in my business. That was in 20. In 22, I lost my mother. Very unexpectedly. Very tragically. We hold people accountable for her care and the reason she's no longer here. I forgot one thing. That was in 22. In 21, I had weight loss surgery, and nobody ever talked to me about the psychological effects of that surgery. I'm 140 pounds lighter, but nobody talked to me about the aftermath of that decision and how that decision was going to affect me psychologically and emotionally. 20, 21, 22, I lost my mom. And from 20 to 23, my wonderful husband has been very ill. And a year ago, almost, he had a major life-changing surgery. He had 4 discs removed from his neck. He's very, very lucky that he's not paralyzed. from the waist, from the neck down. Could have been a quadriplegic. Sorry, I said that wrong. That was in 23. In September, I lost my best friend, my service dog, who saved my life twice. Tragically, traumatically. And then 10 days later, I had to fly across the world, and I had to put my mom's ashes to rest. And I got sick. And I came home and I imploded. I've been sick for a month, physically sick for a month. And it dawned on me, I've never dealt with all of this. It's just been pushed aside and pushed aside and pushed aside. And the trauma that has built up finally knocked me out. And I realized I have to get help. I can't figure my way past all of this trauma on my own anymore. I wake up screaming in the middle of the night. I don't sleep, I don't eat. I work 16 hours a day. And the gas tank is empty. And I finally realized that I either had to get help or I was probably going to have a complete and total collapse, physically, psychologically, and emotionally. It took a friend to say to me, Carrie, what are you doing? You give all this help to everybody else, but you're not taking care of yourself. And it's a very good friend. She said, you're about to fall into that black pit again, and this time you may not make it out. And it was such a wake-up call. When you go through life and you have trauma after trauma after trauma, and it builds and it builds, and you don't deal with these events, eventually it's going to come and it's going to knock you on your ass. And that is what has happened to me. So I made the decision that I need help. I can't deal with the trauma on my own. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Life is hard for everyone. We all have our own crosses to bear. We all have our own situations that are difficult. We all have our own tragedies and traumatic events that happen in our life. And our society is one in which, we got to be strong. We got to work through. We got to, keep the pedal to the metal and keep going, and then we crash and burn. And that's where I was headed. It takes a lot to admit that to yourself. I'm a really strong person. And I'm like my grandmothers and my mother and my sister-in-law and so many women in my life that have been strong, independent, courageous women. The list could go on for 2 hours. And I've thought stupidly, oh, I can deal with it. I just need time. Oh, I'll get to it when I have time. Yeah, I'm okay. I just need to reshift, and I just need to work through it. Put your head down, keep working. It doesn't work. Sooner or later, it will come in and it will knock you on your ass. luckily for me, that realization came before it was too late. A lot of times that doesn't happen. And people are afraid to ask for help. They're afraid to admit that they need help. And that's wrong. COVID taught us life is hard. And there's nothing wrong with putting our mental wellness and our emotions in our priority list. Because if you don't take care of that, it's going to seep into all other different parts of your life, your relationships, your family, your work, your coworkers. I mean, it's like a cancer that starts to eat away, and it changes you, and it devours your life if you allow it to. But for some of us, it takes a lot longer to get to that point where you finally look at yourself in the mirror and say, what are you doing? Why aren't you fine? What are you doing? You're not coping. Go get help. So that's what this message is about, and I've waited to this specific day because we're a week away from a new beginning in America. Regardless of who it is, it's going to change. And we can either try to cope with it positively, or we can allow it to add on to all of the other baggage that we are all carrying on our back that is slowly but surely eating us away because we're not getting the help that we need to just live. It's hard. Life is hard. Everyone has their challenges. Everyone has their own situations. And if I have learned anything from the last 14 years of my life, I have to be willing to look at myself and say, it is okay. I don't have to be that strong. It's okay to ask for help. And then push yourself to do it, because I have been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and it all came crushing down on me. And without the support of an amazing husband, I really don't know where I would be. My amazing children, my amazing grandchildren, and my amazing communities too. So the message from this podcast today, and I really do hope that it resonates with you, is that if your life has a lot of traumatic events and you have not dealt with each and every one of you, it's going to build on top of you, and it's going to start to take, you know, when you look at a pastry and you look at that top level, and then when you bite down on it, it all shrinks down, it all collapses down. Don't let that happen to you and your life and your emotions, because it's really hard to put it all back together. I'm just beginning, and I know it's a long road. But I'm very, very proud of myself for making the decision and saying to myself, what are you doing? Why are you putting this off when you know intellectually that you need help? That's a really hard thing to admit to yourself. And I'm here to tell you it's okay to do it. It's okay to ask. It's okay to feel that way. It's not a weakness. It's a strength. And I'm here to encourage you to do it. It takes a phone call, or it takes searching on the internet and then making the commitment that you are worth your own investment to deal with the traumas that are in your life. Because I'm telling you, sooner or later, you're going to have to deal with them. They're going to manifest somehow, some way, in some part of your life. So take control of it today. Pick up the phone and get in to see somebody. It's a strong decision, and it can only enhance all of the wonderful things in your life, your relationships, your husband's, your relationship there, your family, your friends, your work. It all will benefit from you being the best that you can be. Life is too short to not give yourself every opportunity to be the best you can be. And I haven't for a while. Now it's time. And I hope you look at this as an inspiration. If you are struggling, just do it. Don't put it off anymore. It's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. In actuality, it's a huge sign of strength. It's just taken me a long time to be able to say that. God bless everyone, and let's pray for our country that next Tuesday we have a peaceful election. There's no chaos, there's no violence, and that we know that day who the next president is going to be, and whatever the outcome is, whether it's who you want or not who you want, that we all just let it play out and make sure that there's no violence, because it could be a powder keg that could destroy all of us if we allow it. And we're better than that. We're better than that. So let's not make that happen. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. But be aware of your surroundings too. Okay, there's a lot of bad people here, and you never know. And don't take anything for granted. Watch your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, report it right away. Report it right away, whatever it is. And be safe. And make sure you get out there and you get your vote counted. Everyone needs to do that. It's too important not to. You owe it to this country and yourself to vote. God bless everybody. This is Carrie from Conversations at Carrie's Corner. I hope this podcast, our first for the week, helped you. Can't wait for us to get more interactive. That's all coming. Hopefully we're going to have call-ins and live communication with live call-ins or video chats with other people. And I want to know, what do you want to talk about? What subjects are you wanting to talk about? I want to get the feedback. So please let me know. And let me know what you think of this. If it strikes a chord with you and you end up coming to the realization I did and getting in and getting yourself some real help, let me know. I want to know that. I want to know that I'm reaching you and that my podcasts are inspiring change on whatever the subject is. Let me know. Give me some feedback. You can reach me all across social media. I'm on every single platform. Type in my name, Carrie Devlin Scroggins, and I can't wait to hear from you. Have a blessed remainder of your terrific Tuesday. I'm in Texas, so wherever you are, I hope you're having a fantastic day and a fantastic week. All things are reachable with faith, love, hard work, and dedication. Anything is possible. Believe in yourself. And join us again here at Conversations at Carrie's Corner. And think about those diners. When's the last time you were in one and you came away and you thought, this is a really special place? That's what I'm hoping you come away with when you are part of these podcasts. This is Carrie from Texas. I will see you the next time. God bless. Stay safe.